Back to Pigskin Holiday, everybody. Lights out Spina, CT, the man parrot. And this segment brought to you by You Can't See Shit Optometry, home to every referee in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no.
And now that brings us to my favorite segment,
What?
which is Holy Piss.
Yes.
All about the FaceTime. Now, we're going to do things a little bit backwards this week. Because I'm tired of ending on a negative note every time. So we're going to do what pisses us off first.
Oh boy.
And now, who am I starting with? Ed?
Sure.
What pisses you off in Week 17 of the NFL?
First of all, I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to put on some specs.
Oh, I want to be sure that I get this wrong.
I don't want to be the referee. What happened? Oh, it's your phone. Well, this is what pisses me off. Oh, you look a lot different.
Aye.
I can see better. Whoa. Your eyes are very pretty.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Wow.
Little sparkle.
So pretty.
Little twinkle in the eye.
What pisses me off this week is the fact that if we do get the Saints-Packers matchup we've discussed, it's going to come a week early.
Yeah.
I was expecting to get Saints and Packers in the conference championship, but that won't be the case because Green Bay is waiting for the winner of the New Orleans-Detroit game. So if the Saints do beat Detroit, which won't be an easy task, they're going to face the Packers at Lambeau. And then if the Packers win that one, they'll face the 49ers if they beat the winner of the Giants-Falcons game.
Right.
So potentially you got Packers and 49ers down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of pisses me off that that game's going to come too early.
Yeah.
It also pisses me off that Pittsburgh, with a better record, and who sat in the wild card spot, and Denver backed into the playoffs, but won their division. So Denver hosts the game and makes Pittsburgh travel.
Yeah.
I think the Broncos should have traveled.
I agree. I agree.
It's pretty simple. Did I see a Packers helmet over there somewhere?
We've had a phantom floating Packers helmet this entire. I don't know where it's coming from.
It's the ghost of Vince Lombardi.
It is. It is.
It's playoff
I don't
time, so
appreciate
he has
this.
arisen.
Right.
He's scaring me.
So my piss me
Paranormal
off is
activity.
pretty low, aside from one more thing. As you see my jersey I have on today. It pisses me off that after all the optimism from last year, that this year the Sam Bradford and the Rams had a wasted season, so to speak. Bradford had not a good year, injuries, and not a good cast around him. And I just kind of feel bad for Sam personally because, he took so much time to learn the game in his first year. Then he gets a new OC and Josh McDaniels has to learn a whole new offense.
Right.
And he loves that.
And a shortened off season.
Yeah, with the lockout.
Mhm.
Dude, that pisses me off too. NBA, now the NBA had one. Come on, get your shit together. Is MLB next? Hockey already had one. So did
Right.
baseball. They've all had a lockout.
Right.
We ain't gonna have no lockouts here.
No.
We give no lockouts.
Or no fucks.
Anyway, I kind of feel bad for Bradford. I feel like he lost some momentum. He didn't lose any experience though, because what makes you stronger is stuff like this.
Right. Exactly.
So Bradford will, he'll be fine, and we'll get this GM and coach thing straightened out. And I know that we sort of bashed the Rams during this middle of the season and towards the end, and didn't talk about them, and just because they weren't winning, it was just one of them things. But I always like them. I want them to win, and I'm gonna go into next season with the same optimism I went into this season.
Yeah.
And it's gonna piss me off that they waste another opportunity. So that's it.
Nice. Now, CT, you don't have a big long list.
I don't, but I can make one.
Oh, well, then hit me.
I'm an angry individual. If you didn't know that about me. But kind of kicking off of what Ed said to start with, the Rams really pissed me off. Everything that they could have possibly done right, they didn't. And it was like they went the exact opposite way the whole time. They got Brandon Lloyd, they didn't do much with him. And everything that he did, he wanted to try to make the team better, but it was like nobody around him even gave a shit.
Right.
From up high all the way down to the kicker, who botched kicks this past week too that he shouldn't have. You know, it was just like everybody was screwing everything up on every level for the Rams. And every time that one or two players would have a bright shining moment, it was overshadowed by more bullshit.
Too many penalties.
All season long, it was ridiculous. Nothing good happened for the Rams. I mean, the only thing that they did was beat the Saints, and that was a complete, utter fluke. And then they beat somebody else. I don't remember who.
Cleveland on a missed field goal.
Right.
Yeah. The Browns.
Cleveland's bad.
Yeah, Cleveland's bad. They didn't beat Cleveland. Cleveland beat Cleveland.
Yes.
Right.
Which is what the Rams did all year.
Right.
Well, but I mean,
But did they miss Danny Amendola though?
there was.
I mean,
You know-
that alone can't answer for it, but that's
No,
a big miss.
there's-
That's a big.
No, and the fact that they were going off of like, you know, 6-string DBs, you know, the entire time. I mean, they had,
Street
yeah, it was just ridiculous. You know, they've been plagued by injuries this entire
That
season.
Kurt Warner thing does not always work.
No, it does not. No, it does not.
And, you know, on top of that, though, I mean, the fact that it took getting a 10-38 ratio to get rid of their coach, that just seems a bit much for me. I don't think he should have been there at all this year. Because the first year was so bad, and then the next year was okay. And that really, I don't think, had a damn thing to do with him. Because this year, they suck again.
Yeah, but by the same token, like, it's the same scenario where everyone went into this year with a lot of optimism. We'll do better. And then we got hit with injuries immediately.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, week by week you start thinking, as Stan Kroenke, he was like, all right, what am I going to do here? Do I watch the coach this week? Do I watch the GM this week? Where's my problem lying at? Is the team playing for Spags? Is the team not built right in the first place? You know, there's all these things going on. It's like, you know, you have to, you know, figure out
depth.
Yeah.
There's not. And it was very well proven this year. Because it should not, even with the injuries, it shouldn't have been as bad as it was.
No, we always said before, there's teams around the whole league this year had the same problem.
Right.
And they performed much better.
I mean,
Even the Colts, without Peyton Manning, they scored more points than the Rams did.
Right.
They won the same 2 games,
Yep.
but they scored more points than the Rams did.
They did.
Without, you know, and Orlovsky looked pretty good the last couple of weeks. So.
Yeah. And something else that pisses me off is Tim Tebow.
Oh yes.
He was on my list to start with, got off my list, stayed off my list, and now he's back on my list. And the reason why he's on there now is because this is, what, the 3rd game in a row now? He's not done so good. And this one was by far the worst performance he's done. Period. The turnovers, fumbles, everything that you can possibly do wrong, he did. And it was just like it was a totally different player this past week.
Well, but you guys said that the defenses would pretty soon figure him out, and
Oh, yeah.
they did. And when they did, he didn't have an answer for it.
No. And that's what I'm afraid is going to happen all of next season. Unless he makes some drastic changes. Which I don't know if he can do
I think he'll be okay.
in that short of an amount of time.
He's a smart guy. I
I'm
think
not
he'll
really
be able to
concerned with
figure it out,
Tebow's
but-
future. I think it'll be okay. But
yeah,
right now you have the Pittsburgh Steelers to worry about.
Well, I mean, I don't think that they're going to make it past Pittsburgh.
I
mean-
wouldn't think so.
If they was to beat Pittsburgh, it would be because Pittsburgh's not playing the way Pittsburgh should.
Right.
And then, you know... And the Texans, they piss me off too. Because for the longest time we was praising them about how good they was doing and not letting the injuries, you know, affect them. And then all of a sudden, these last 3 games, they've just crashed and burned. It's like everything that didn't bother them to start with has all caught up to them and it's all hitting them. It's like they just realized, oh wow, how are we doing this? And then as soon as they question themselves, done. They haven't done much of anything since, you know, 3 games now. And I don't think, if they manage, I think that they can manage to beat Cincinnati, but I don't think that they're going to do anything beyond that.
Yeah.
Only because Cincinnati is as good as they are. They're still not consistent. They're about
Right.
as consistent as the Giants,
Yeah.
Almost.
but not as explosive.
Right.
Although they have that deep threat, but still.
Yeah.
When
But-
faced with adversity, Cincinnati hasn't really answered the bell very well.
Right.
Like Buffalo.
Oh,
Much better than Buffalo. Buffalo, that pisses
Awful.
me off.
Yeah, it pisses me off
Yeah,
too.
me too.
It pisses me off too.
Mario, what pisses you off?
Well, I got.
Were you done, CT? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have a plethora
Okay.
of things, really, a buffet, if you will. Oh, who's this? I don't know who this is next to me. I've never seen anybody with glasses sit next to me. Who is this?
I don't know.
When you security.
He's that guy
Who?
over there.
Can you? Somebody? No. What pisses me off? Okay.
Go ahead and
Number
try to
one,
take me out.
kind of going with what Ed was saying, the seeding with the playoffs. I don't understand. Okay, perfect example of how I think things should go in the NFL. You have Pittsburgh, who's 12-4. You have Baltimore, who's 12-4. To me, the reason why Baltimore is ahead of Pittsburgh is because Baltimore went 6-0 in their division. If you have, you look at the Denver Broncos, also, who are 8-8. San Diego Chargers, 8-8. The Oakland Raiders, 8-8. All three in the same division. What constitutes Denver getting in over Oakland or?
Just a division win.
Yeah,
That's all.
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think that it should be strength of schedule. It shouldn't be this and this and this and this. If you have Green Bay who's 13-3, and then you have Detroit who's 13-3, who won more division? That's who is who gets the bye. To me, that's the way that it should go. I do not understand why New Orleans at 13-3 I don't understand why they're a wild card team. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Same thing with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly. But it is what it is, and it's not going to change because I am who I am, and they are who they are, and I don't really run things. Although we have our insiders who kind of we talk to Chris Collinsworth all the time, so CCing us or this show is good. We talk to freaking Madden every now and then calls CT over here, which
He does.
I'm a little jealous of. I don't understand how he gets.
I gave him my number, but
Yeah.
I don't get nothing.
All right, what else pisses me off is once
Phone
again
calls.
once again the New York Jets, and I'm about sick of just talking about it just because it hurts my feelings and makes me want to cry. Actually, it doesn't. But what pisses me off about the New York Jets is the fact that they just keep talking and they keep talking. And they're in the media for all these negative reasons. And this is not helping your ball club at all.
Shut up and win.
Exactly. Shut up and win. You have, I think, honestly, the best thing that they could, obviously San Francisco's not going to win. They're not going anywhere. They just fell off the table. I think, when you, when your season ends in a catastrophe, basically like we were talking about earlier, barring a miracle, they weren't going to get into the playoffs. So they already pretty much knew that when you have a list of things that need to happen just for you to get in,
Yeah.
you're most likely not going to get in. And we've talked about how they needed to not get in and kind of, reality check for them. But when you just react so negatively to everything that happens to your ball club, that is not a good sign of things to come. I mean, they have some issues not only in the locker room, but with upper management. As far as their offensive coordinator, they have an issue. So, they're just a mess. And I really, really hope for the sake of the franchise, because I love this franchise. Like, I've loved it ever since I was a little kid. I put my heart and soul. I bleed green and white. The mean green, I love it. I just think that they need to get back to what
Smash mouth football.
Smash mouth football. Get that attitude, but get the hard-working attitude, not the attitude that you feel like you need to deserve everything that happens to you. You know what I mean? You don't get handed everything that happens to you in the NFL. You work for it.
Well,
That
they
pisses me
just
off.
didn't gel as a team down the stretch. Matter of fact, all year.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what the problem is. I have no clue.
But something is up. Something's in the water in New
Something
York.
Big Billy Wong.
Something wrong.
Billy won't.
And that's what pisses me off pretty much. Ridiculous.
Well, let's just do a battery change and come back to the holy shit.
Okay.